impressive. Did you actually not know that, though?
I did not know that.
Hey, welcome. Something new for us, but welcome to Good Grief. Here with Alex Michael, both funeral directors, but I'm really excited to kind of delve into what this good grief is and how we can kind of help families get to good grief and kind of get over some of those unexpected situations. Just as like, oh my God, good grief. Do I really have to go through this, or do I have to go through it alone, or what's expected? All those good things. So Alex Michael, tell me a little bit about you and how did you get into this industry in general, man?
That's a good question. And I want to hear yours, more importantly. But my dad was a funeral director. My uncle is a funeral director. My grandfather was a funeral director. A couple of my cousins are funeral directors. But anyways, my grandfather started a funeral home with my grandmother back in the mid 50s, Alleva funeral home. And they owned it together up until my grandfather passed away in 1975. My dad took over with my uncle, and then another uncle came in as well. I started working when I was 12 years old, parking cars in the lot. And my uncle called up my mom one day. And
Alex Michael, I'm not sure if you know that's illegal.
Well, yes.
But it's okay, man. No,
it was under the table.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt awesome when at the end of I was standing outside in the parking lot all night and I was freezing. It was like the middle of February. And I had this old grumpy uncle that also worked there. It was all family. And he was basically like, okay, you're good. I was like, yeah, I guess so. And then he literally left and got in his Oldsmobile, started the car and just stayed in there for 2 hours, nice and warm. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm just standing out in the cold, just helping old folks get out of the car, telling them where to go, forth. Freezing. And finally my uncle came out with a little bit all of like $30 and gave it to me. And I was like, okay, cool. And that sort of started my path into the funeral business. Although I didn't go to school originally for mortuary science. I was like, I don't want to do this. I want to try something else. So I totally went the opposite direction.
Okay.
And
it was the cold weather standing out there with my uncle in the Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, I want to be a musician. So I ended up going to school for music. And then of course, by the time I was like 28, 29, I was like, yeah, I can't keep doing this. So I went back to school for my license. And then
where'd you go to school?
For music?
For music, for mortuary?
I went to Berklee College of Music originally for guitar.
Whoa. You didn't just like go to like some shack down the street and like strum a couple streets. You actually went to Berklee?
Yeah, man. It was
That's
wild.
impressive.
Thank you.
That's very impressive.
Did you actually not know that though?
I did not know that.
Okay. Yeah.
But even if I did, like it's impressive, man. It's impressive.
Yeah. So it doesn't come up in conversation that much anymore, but it was a cool experience. Honestly, the only reason why I lasted so long being a musician was because I went to Berklee. And then like just referrals, people heard, he went to Berklee, he must know how to play. And I would get a gig. And it kept me going for like 6-7 years.
Okay.
And then eventually I was like, I'm missing like every birthday party, anniversaries, all this stuff, Saturdays, Sundays, I was shot. And even though the funeral business has downsides on the weekend, it would always kind of called to me. I knew I stayed working part-time throughout this whole process too. And I was like, you know what, this is, whether it's God or the universe is telling me to do this, it's time. And it was very lucky because right after I got my license, the pandemic came and all my friends who are musicians were really in trouble financially. And I was like, wow, this is awful to be in this situation for everybody. But I'm really thankful that I have be able to like put food on the table or help put food on the table with me and my wife. So, but anyways, the real question is you though, man. Because I know a little bit about your story.
Well, I have a little bit of story, but nothing as grandiose as yours. You know, I don't come from a lineage of funeral directors. My first introduction was my uncle. My uncle became a funeral director. And at first it was kind of like, I seen the growth financially, right? So it was the monetary aspect. Like, man, he went from driving this old beat up Jetta, was it a Jetta or was it a Rabbit, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Volkswagen Rabbit, right?
Yeah.
And it was okay, but then he got his dream car, an Acura Legend, right? That was 92 Acura Legend. It was the thing to get back in the 90s. Yeah. So it was just like, wow, that's pretty amazing. But then when I started to talk to him a little bit more about it, I kind of realized that, hey, maybe this is something that I can kind of do, right? Because seemingly at the time, I could incorporate all the things I love to do, right? business aspects of it, right?
100%.
I love anatomy, the body, and things of that nature. So I have a couple degrees from business administration, double majored in biology. I have a concentration in anatomy, did family reunification therapy in psychology at a therapeutic diagnostic center for juveniles in Baltimore, also here in the Philadelphia area, all to do funeral service, right? I wanted to make sure that if I did something, I wanted to have a niche. I wanted to be able to serve families that would be going through the most difficult time in their life, having grief and dealing with family dynamics, and be able to add some value to them, right? So I wanted to go that route. And then my faith. So it was the only industry that I could find at the time, and kind of still, that I could really incorporate all these things into one avenue to be able to serve people.
Right.
Something about this industry really drives me, right? Being able to help people kind of at their worst times is why I got into it. So I don't have a lineage of funeral directors. I do have some very, very good influences from funeral directors. And again, it's similar to you. You know, it was kind of like this call that, hey, this is something that you should do. I don't believe that this is my purpose. I believe that I find purpose in my doing. So in every aspect that we do, our jobs and all the things that come along with it, being with the family itself or vendors or colleagues and things of that nature. It's one of the most thankless, but one of the most rewarding jobs and tasks that I've ever had in my life.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. And you were talking about how you came from all these backgrounds, right? And you're able to kind of put it into one. One thing that's cool about the funeral business, I think, is that you can be someone who likes to do everything, but if you maybe are not a fan of the anatomy stuff, it doesn't mean that you have to do it.
Right.
You could be in what we call front room, meeting families. And there are people who come that just want to be in the background. They want to be in the morgue, embalming bodies and making sure everyone looks okay.
Yeah.
So that's my question for you is, do you have a preference, or do you I like being right in the middle, doing all of it. I don't want to be doing one thing the whole day.
Right. I think I'm kind of like you. I'm that unicorn that likes to do everything. I don't believe that any one person is like an octopus, like you're great at everything. However, I think that humbly submitted, I am exceptional at every aspect, right? With the administrative pieces of the task and jobs, meeting with families, running services, kind of like you said, the morgue or the back room, as we call it, tasks and jobs, from embalming or dressing and cosmetology or restorative aspects of the job. I really find pleasure in all of those things. But if I have to pick one, I think I would probably choose running a service. Yeah. I love running a service. I love doing dressing and casket. I love all those things, but I love the pop and circumstance of a service, right? It's the one thing that unites all human beings is that no matter what language we have, what ethnicity or what religious practices we have, there's one thing that we all share, and that's saying goodbye. Yeah. And it's such a delicate and beautiful thing to have to encapsulate a life's worth of memories into an hour's worth of ceremony, right?
A morning. Yeah.
You're married. I've been married. I'll be married for 15 years in June. Nice. So hooray for me.
Are you sure it's 15? Because if your wife watches this, you're wrong. You're going to be in super trouble.
You're right. So yes, I am sure, because I got a text this morning about the trip that we're planning. So I know it's 15. I'm on par, but thank you for always having me back
I got
on
you.
That one,
yeah,
man.
Doug, we're going to make sure it's editing in the post just in case. Yeah.
Doug, you got us right, my man. Doug's he's the magic behind the cameras, keeps us smiling and all those things, but block the door if that number's wrong, Doug. So we make sure we stay on par with that piece. But yeah, man, it just keeps things kind of going. And I absolutely love it. How about you? One of the questions that I get often, Alex Michael, is that you're in the funeral industry, right? You're doing funerals. Aren't you sad?
All the time. Yeah.
I get that often. How about you? Like, what is your take and your response to that?
Do you ever get that, you're a funeral director? And they're like, ew. Do you ever hear the ew?
The ew.
Like, It's like,
I'm
okay.
like, good
Yeah.
grief. Like, all right, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a funeral director, right? It's not common, but it's the one job that everyone's going to need at some point,
Yeah.
right? And it's not for everyone, you know?
Right.
It really, really isn't. But what do you say? What is your take to that? Like, how do you kind of manage that serving those who are at their most vulnerable time and crying? How do you
Yeah.
kind of deal with that process?
I think part of it's personality and part of
Uh-huh.
it is also building a strength to do it too, right?
Wow.
Because I've met funeral directors who were licensed for 6 months. And if you were to take a picture of them at the day 1 to 6 months, there is a change in like a visual change. They're burnt out because they keep taking it home with them. And it is hard at sometimes not to, but I think some personalities don't allow for you to separate like that.
Yeah.
You know, my wife is very empathetic. I think she would have a hard time, and I am
Mhm.
empathetic. But the rule, and I always try to remind people at the funeral home that work there is, there's some really tough stuff that happens behind these doors. But once you leave it, you have to leave it here. And I always encourage people, you have to find something that can get your stress out too. Is that working out, playing music,
Yeah.
going for a hike? Do something. Don't just go home and come back to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like get out,
That's good,
go out to
man.
eat, do something, because it's not healthy to take it home with you.
Mhm.
I think I'm lucky in that I can be very compassionate with people
Mhm.
at the table and meet them at their level, whether it's here or there.
Yeah.
But I think this sounds like I'm bragging, but I feel like once I leave, I'm pretty good about being like, that's got to stay here and I got to go home and I have to just leave it there because I have a 3-year-old, I have a wife, you know, plenty of other things going on. Nobody wants me to drag that home with me. It's not healthy either, right?
No.
So some cases stick with you though, right?
They do.
And it helps you be a better funeral director though. When you really get hit with something in those unfortunate circumstances,
Right.
it's okay to take it home a little bit because you need to. You need to be on a better level with that family that are dealing with like a seriously devastating moment. You know, was it a young person? Was it a unexpected loss? Whatever it is, it's okay. But you have to be able to find a line to say this is not okay. And some people can't. So how about you?
Absolutely. Yeah, dude, I think you touched on something. I mean, you hit a point where you said like you have to have strength. And I think oftentimes we kind of glaze over that and what the power of that really is, right? And there is so much that can be gleaned from just that moment of strength because oftentimes people find weakness as their most devastating point, right? And I think that's what a good funeral director is and what we do. We literally do kind of ingrain ourselves within the family fabric, right? We now become a part of that family. We are in the discussions of the most difficult times. We're there trying to help filter through some of the financial obligations and how can we get creative to make sure that we can celebrate your loved one's life in a way that is appropriate to your desire, but we don't have to kind of diminish that just because of financial restraints, right? It is such a hard but delicate process to do, but it's when we do it right, the sound of the orchestra is so penetrating. That it's then that it breeds healing. I heard my mother say once that oftentimes you can't tell someone who's had a loss that, hey, I know what you feel, or I know how this feels, because that moment is a pit experience, right? And while you're in that pit experience, the best thing that you can do is just have the ministry of presence, right? And my presence is it's saying that, hey, I have the answers. I know what to say. I know what to do. Sometimes that ministry of presence is just saying, you're going to have to go through this, but you don't have to go through it alone. Right? And that's what a good funeral director is. And that's what I really believe you are, as I've seen you work with different families and passings of different age groups, from being children or teenagers up to a grandmother or grandfather that's 90 something years old or 98, 99 years old. Like, it doesn't matter the age, it's the impact of the life. And I think you do a very beautiful job with that in capturing a lot of those moments.
Likewise. And I think well, just the people, whoever listens to this know, you have a staff of people that at your funeral home. And I think they also kind of follow your lead in what you do, right? You have pretty high expectations for them and what they do. And I think that's part of it, is to make sure that they're meeting people and their presence there for them, and they're guiding them. And you can tell when you walk into your office that that's the vibe there, right? So each family is different too, right? And
definitely.
That's a skill too and I really mean it is a skill. You have to develop it. I've talked to, I've had a couple interns between here and a different funeral home, and saying, don't try to come out like right in the middle every time. Like, you got to come out and say hi and just see where that energy is in the room. Because you might have a family that's like very jovial, and you're unexpected, and you can meet them there. Maybe not, be a little bit careful,
right?
But just feel it out first. Don't come out like that. You got to meet them on their level or make them feel more comfortable.
Yep. And like I said, that pit experience, going to where they are.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You have to. Yeah.
A very, very beautiful moment. I'm there at Blake Dual Funeral Home, where you are privileged to provide excellent leadership for your team. One of the things that I am extremely excited about is you all's ability to have personalizations and things of that nature for persons that come into your care. Tell me a little bit about some of those things that you guys do.
Oh, in general. So one thing that we do is that whenever people come into the funeral home, whether it's for a funeral service or for funeral arrangements, that there's always a candle lit right inside the door, and there's a little plaque that we can change the letters out of it. It says, this candle is lit in honor of person's name. And I was kind of a test to see how that would work. And it's just one thing we've been calling one percenters, thanks to, I hope it's okay we say his name, Bill McGinnis, who's become a bit of a mentor for me and has really helped me out in the past year. So one percenters. He said, one thing's not going to make a big difference, but you get 10 of them in a funeral service. Well, okay, well, now you're up 10% from where you were, wherever that was. That's an 80 to a 90 or an 85 to a 95. So that was one of ours. People come in and I've caught people with their phones taking a picture of it.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, that's great. Like, even just like a little bit of interaction like that, just to let people know that we're just trying to do these little things. Even, and every year on the anniversary of people's passing, we send out a letter. We all sign the card and let them know, hey, we're thinking about you. Just, we don't expect to hear a response from them or anything like that, but just, hey, we know it's a year. We're keeping track of all this.
Yeah.
We're all thinking about you during this tough time. One thing that we like to do too, I don't know if you guys do this, but I engrave just about every casket, which I don't think most funeral homes do. And I get almost the same reaction every time, because usually we do a lot of Catholic services and the pall gets placed on the casket. And the pall gets taken off at the end of Mass. And the people are like, oh my gosh, it's engraved. Look, it's engraved. And I'm like, oh, that's such a win for us to like, not for us, but that's such a win to be able to like provide like a little thing of detail.
Right.
And have the family just say, that's like, how cool is that? And it doesn't have, a lot of people don't do it. And it's really simple, like it's pretty inexpensive, all things considered. So there's a couple of little things that we like to do. I know you guys have some cool stuff that you've like worked on and trying and things like that.
Like, my thing is that every life is so unique.
Right.
I think that it's extremely important to be able to highlight those uniquenesses, right? Every detail needs to be remembered. It's hard to kind of encapsulate all that.
You just snuck that SCI term in there.
Yeah, I did. It's hard to kind of do that. But some of the things that I like to do are, like you said, these surprises, right? Like I said, like I mentioned before, like we are literally quilting ourselves within their family's fabrics and fabrics, excuse me. But it's when we present something that may not have been indicated as, hey, I want to highlight this, but it's there and dedicated. And I think sometimes people just need to know that I heard you,
yes.
For instance, I had a family that their loved one loved the beach, right? Made me think of my wife. My wife loves going to the beach and going on vacations and things of that nature. And one of the things, as they were discussing, I was completing some paperwork and I overheard them speaking, and they were saying, oh, they were looking for pictures of Dad so they can have on the dedicated picture slideshow. And they're like, man, it's kind of hard to find a picture. And they're all laughing. They're like, yeah, because he's usually one behind the camera. But only pictures that we can kind of find right now in our phones are the ones you just sent us, because Dad was always taking pictures of his feet while he was at the beach.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So
Okay.
I just made just a little note about that, and they made some other notations. Like he loved like NASCAR. So when the family came in, we made sure that the room was set up in a way we call it celebration of life table or area. We make sure that we highlight all those things, but I also like to highlight the things that weren't necessarily mentioned that I picked up on. So I made sure I got a picture of a person on the beach with their legs crossed, and I sat that within a small or little trinket of a lounge chair and just highlighted that with some beach sand. And I didn't point it out, but the family noticed it. Like, now those aren't his feet, but it touched them in a way that someone heard them, and now this connected the dots.
Yeah.
Right. As funeral directors, our responsibility, I'm sure you agree with this, that we have the privilege and the duty to be the pilots and the catalyst for the grieving process.
Mhm.
It's a difficult job. You're married. I'm married for 15 years.
It's 15.
It is 15 years.
It's verified. 15 years.
And the amount of time that it took to plan that wedding, that only occurred one day, was, I think I proposed, was 8 months. We got married quick. I was a hot catch, Alex Mike. She had to get me
No
off.
doubt.
She had to get me as quick as she could.
Yeah.
You know, I don't blame her.
No, dude. No.
But it took us 8 months to get everything planned, right? The same effort and detail and organization goes into creating a funeral service. And a lot of people don't realize that a lot of those deadlines are the same and how much goes into it. It can be extremely, extremely taxing on families. Is there anything that you do to kind of help families through that at all?
In terms of timeframes or well, I think that's one of the most stressful parts of a funeral director's job.
Yeah.
Is that you're trying to say, okay, I know you want this in the newspaper by the day of. So that means you have to get that to me like in the next hour. Or, you know, or what, like that's exaggerating.
Right,
and they're like, okay. And that sort of like goes in and goes out the other ear. And then at 10 o'clock at night, you get an email and they're frantically, can you get this in right away? So one thing we try to do is send an email beforehand to list the things that we're going to talk about. And we find, yes, people are reading it, but they're not in the mental state to like really like absorb it.
Yeah.
And when they get in, they say, well, I know you said something about obituary and the funeral is on this day and we need it in. Like it's starting to rotate a little bit.
Right.
So it's just constant reinforcement and just trying to be really clear about those moments. Because I find when people come in, 90 minutes is like the threshold before you start to get the glazed eyes and exhaustion, right?
Yeah.
No matter what time of day. I've tested it at 9:30 in the morning and 4:30 in the afternoon. Is that people just start to lose it. So there is a lot to go through before we start to lose that mental capacity, right?
Yeah.
And reinforce it with emails and just try to make sure you don't miss anything. We do miss stuff though.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we pay for it dearly. You know what I mean? Have you had to pay for any newspaper notices that you forgot to put in? Because I definitely have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it was probably my second year being a licensed director. I had to pay handsomely for that.
Oh yeah.
It's a lesson that you pay once, you won't ever forget.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But now to your point, just over communicating, right? Setting expectations of what is due, when it's due kind of really helps. But there's a lot of things that we can do that really takes that pressure off of families.
Yeah.
Right. Like prearranging and having things together in an organized manner so that your family knows where information is and all those things. And a lot of times we think like, oh yeah, I got it. I know this information until the time that the unthinkable does occur. Like you said, you're going to be in this time of fog, and it's very, very hard to recall information at that point. Yeah. Right. So that's why, we talk about coming in and doing prearrangements and times of doing pre-funding or just having moments of conversation with your loved one to say, hey, I don't want you to pass, but if you should, what would you want?
Yeah.
Right. Like my cousin wants to be cremated but she wants to be cremated in her pajamas. Like
Cool.
She has them set aside. There are some fluffy pink pajamas.
Yeah. I'm
with
her,
with the
man.
slippers on, or whatever the case may be, and definitely doable. But if she never verbalized that, who would know?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Do not send me to the pearly gates with a suit on, man. I want to.
You're not a suit guy?
No, I do. But like, if I'm meeting my maker, I want to be comfortable. You know what I mean? Like,
Dude, I would probably venture.
you get the bow tie on.
Put me in the bow tie.
Yeah,
man.
that goes for
Put
you.
me in the bow tie. It's funny, like you're mentioning this now, because we were talking about this prior to beginning this session. Like, why do I wear the bow tie, right?
Bart
And
signature.
It's the Bart signature.
Yeah.
It kind of is. It's kind of like become my marquee a little bit, right? It's not a clip on. It's an actual tie, right?
Yeah.
It's the gentleman's
Just clarify,
tie.
it is actually it is definitely a bow tie. Yeah.
It's the gentleman's tie. I kind of got into it because of two reasons. My uncle that I mentioned earlier, that's a funeral director. He wears them. But my father had a really, really huge influence on that. Mainly because he's a huge fan of the Rat Pack.
Oh yeah.
And one of his favorite artists was Sammy Davis Jr. And after the third or fourth song, Sammy would always undo his bow tie. He would continue the whole set, but his tie would hang down. My dad said, "Oh, I always thought that was so cool. It's an elegant look.
There's a finesse to it too, because just pull the one side out and then it just
it just like you know." And then there's not a lot of people who wear them.
No.
So it's one of those things that kind of it's that 1%er.
It is a 1%er. Yeah, because
Just
people
the
are going to
1%.
remember you. They're going to like
Yeah.
a unique moment. It's very
So,
important.
Yeah, I prefer the suit. I think the suit for me it's not just the uniform, it's everything.
Yep.
Right? It's what the expectation is from the family. But for me, people are like, "Oh, are you gonna go like move those chairs in your suit?" Like, absolutely. Like, this suit is like overalls for me. I do everything in a suit.
Do you?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I'll go wash the car in a suit. It doesn't
Oh,
matter.
I'll do that at the funeral home for
fit.
sure. I'm
Yeah.
not afraid of wearing it. I do. There is something about, getting ready in the morning and you put the suit on, it just came from the dry cleaner and the shirt's nice and pressed and you're like, okay, this feels good.
It feels good.
Yeah.
And then, not to mention, I've been married for 15 years. Something about when I put on a suit, the wife just gives me a little wink.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I always say to my wife, I'm like, whenever I put this suit on, I hear that like "Bada" from James Bond in the back of my head. I'm like, this is what's up. And then I'm like, oh no, I'm a funeral director. I'm not from MI6.
Yeah. You got to bring it back.
Yeah.
Alex Michael, this has been an amazing conversation.
Heck yeah.
There's some things I didn't know that you did and some of your accomplishments.
Likewise.
However, we are going to continue to kind of delve into some of the benefits that help families during the most troubling times.
Yep.
Some of the questions that come up, some of the things that funeral directors go through behind the curtain.
I think that a great topic to go in some of the backdoor stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe keep it not too gruesome, but but
very,
just,
very tasteful.
Yes.
Very
keep
tasteful.
It very tasteful.
But yeah, whenever I'm making arrangements, I always have people say, "Oh, can I ask you a question? I heard this 5 years ago. Can I ask you?" I'm like, always. Like, I love.
Are people dying to get in?
Yeah. The jokes, man.
Yeah.
The jokes. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
You gotta love it, man. Hey, it's better to be seen than viewed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
All those, man. So we'll go into a lot of that, answer a lot of questions. We'll get into some dialogue. Like you said, the behind the scenes, what kind of goes into our day-to-day operations. And really just kind of let our viewers kind of know who we are.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that you guys think we're just these starchy people that just talk, like the old school, welcome to the funeral home.
Oh,
we have that side, but we're just people.
Oh, 100%.
And just want to give some information to people that sometimes it's a very difficult conversation, man.
I think just having people hear us talk a little shop about the funeral business in a respectful manner, it will help them understand and be able to shed some light on some unknowns of the
right.
It's not that scary, right?
It's not.
Yeah.
It's
the
not.
business itself is really not. Yeah.
It's not.
It's a really cool place.
Yeah.
Really cool business.
And unfortunately, it is a road that we all must travel down.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, we won't be those who are providing support. We're going to be the ones sitting in the front row, kind of absorbing the support.
Yeah.
And it's persons like you that are in this industry that I feel most comfortable knowing that, hey, there's the Alex Michael out there that if the time of the unthinkable does occur for my family, there's Alex Michael to be able to take care of my family.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's a great point, because a lot of times when funeral directors are in the news, it's not for something good.
It's not.
It's not like local funeral director saves puppy. No, it's like local funeral director makes huge mistake, right?
Yeah.
So to shed light on most of us are pretty decent people. You being one exceptional person in this,
that,
you know what I
man.
mean? So
Appreciate that. Well, you know, we're going to get into some good stuff. So I'm probably going to, really emotional people might shed a tear. You'll hear a lot of laughs, but we're going to get into some of the things that make this industry healthy, some of the good grief practices that we can kind of put into place, and some of the things that are a little shocking as well. And through it all, you know, we're going to come out on top, and it'll be good grief one way or the other.
That's right.
All right, man. Till next time.
Till next time.
Hey, if you find this information to be useful or helpful, do two things. Either comment, save, but more importantly, share the information. Alex, Michael, and myself are greatly appreciative to all you all's time. Until next time, good grief.
Good grief.